I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about buy-sell agreements. Now, with buy-sell agreements, I think this is an important topic for business owners, but I also think it's a topic that gets overlooked because the conversation sometimes is hard to get started with a lot of business owners because they haven't thought through, you know, as much about the future as they are about their current planning in their business. Business owners get caught up talking about, or thinking about payroll, thinking about, their product sales, all of those things that go to day running the business. And sometimes planning for the future, is a little bit more difficult, but it's something we as planners need to make sure we're helping our business owners plan for the future. As you start looking at planning, really what are we trying to accomplish? And when I see what we're trying to accomplish with the buy-sell agreement is we're not only trying to get the family goals, but we're also talking about the business goals. Think about what we're trying to protect here, especially if the owner of that business, if they have a lot of their asset and future retirement tied up in that business, we can't lose that value. So think of the things that we're trying to protect here. We're trying to protect the value of the business. We may be protecting the reputation of the business. And I've worked with a lot of business owners that have built their businesses up over the years and have grown it into something substantial. It may have their family name on the business. They want to make sure that as they transition out or transition into retirement, that the reputation of that business continues. We also want to make sure that we're protecting the other owners and the employees of the business. So you start seeing we're going to really start meshing together family goals and business goals to make sure that we have a very smooth transition when those things occur. So when I talk to a lot of business owners, it's, do you have a buy-sell agreement in place to protect your business asset? And there again, I think a lot of business owners understand what a buy-sell agreement is. I think there's a lot that don't. And when I look at a buy-sell agreement, I think of it as a backstop. It's a backstop to protect us against the unforeseen events. We know when we get to more towards retirement, that's a planned event. But what happens if an owner dies or becomes disabled, or just wants to walk out of the business early? I mean, they have a change of desire. All of those things, we want to have that backstop in place so that we know how things were going to transition from one owner to the next. And sometimes we have to make sure that we've got an owner or a future buyer in place, whether it's the owner, a key employee, key employer, or key employee group. All of those things are a necessity to make sure that we have a smooth transition. Now, when we start looking at the buy-sell agreement itself, there's lots of options here, and we can customize these options to make sure that they fit our client, making sure that we pick the right type of buy-sell agreement, that we get the right triggers in there. And by a trigger, there again, think about this. This is an agreement that's going to be signed now, that will come into existence and really become more effective when we have a death or a disability, or an owner wants to walk out of the business now, wants to sell out early. Maybe there's a divorce and the ex-spouse is going to receive the business interest. Do you want to be in business with your partner's ex-spouse? Most likely, probably not. And so we want to have those triggers in the buy-sell, but we want to make sure we have the right type of buy-sell agreement. When I look at a cross-purchase agreement is the probably the most simple agreement we can have. When we have a cross-purchase agreement, the agreement is between the business owners. So if I have business owner 1 and business owner 2, they're going to come in and decide what this agreement looks like. So what happens is with that agreement, when there's a triggering event, let's say business owner 1 here passes away. Well, that triggers the event, and owner number 2 buys out that interest from the estate of business owner 1. if you think about the cross purchase agreement, the company is not part of the agreement. So the company doesn't have to sign anything. It's the stock or the ownership interest between the two owners are going to be controlled by the agreement they sign. Now, what I like here is if there's a death, then there's going to be a step up in basis of that ownership interest. And so what's nice there is owner one, if they pass away, they get a step up in basis in the value of their business. So when owner two buys that, owner one's family will not pay any estate tax or capital gains tax on the sale of that business. It's very clean for the exiting family because of the step up in basis. What I like for owner number two in a cross purchase agreement, when they buy it, they're buying it at fair market value. And so owner two, their ownership interest, their basis in the company is stepped up because of the amount of check that they're going to write to buy that from the estate. The second type of agreement is a redemption agreement. Now, I see a redemption agreement happen when we have a lot of owners, that we have a group that is much larger, and now we want to make it easy. And easy may be the right solution. Sometimes easy may not be the best solution. In this case, we have the two owners of the business, but now we're going to make the company a part of the agreement. So in this case, the owners come up as, as in their role as owners of the business, officers of the company. And they're going to work within the framework of the company, and the company will sign on to the agreement that says if there's a triggering event, the company will buy out that interest. So think about that. In the cross purchase, each owner's buying each other out. In a redemption agreement, the company will redeem the ownership interest of the partner that's leaving the company, whether it's a death, disability, those types of triggers. Now, one thing to be aware of here is, in this case, owner two is the remaining owner of the business. They don't get a step up in the basis for the amount of purchase price there. They didn't write the check, so their basis didn't increase in the business. Now, this may be a problem, may not be a problem. If owner number two wants to sell their interest in the business relatively soon after, well, remember, they didn't increase the value of their basis. Therefore, they may have to pay a higher capital gains if they sell their interest in the near future. Something to be aware of is, as we talk to our owners, do they want to, have the treatment for the surviving owner like we would in a cross purchase where their basis in the company steps up? It helps the surviving partner decide what they're going to do with that ownership interest. Now, the third option is the hybrid agreement. You'll hear this said as a hybrid agreement, a wait and see. It all means the same thing. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to give options. Now, these options are going to be given to the surviving owner. So if I look at this, if owner one dies, owner one leaves, the treatment to owner one doesn't change, but it gives the remaining owner options to see what's best. First option will be an option to elect a cross purchase agreement. So business owner one dies, business owner two can write the check and buy them out. They get to decide, is that the right option? Option two will typically be a mandatory option. If owner two doesn't elect to treat it as a cross purchase, then the company will redeem the interest as a redemption agreement. So now we get tax treatment for owner two as a redemption. There again, I like this because, tax law changes, cash flow changes, all of those things allow owner number two to decide what's best for them. What's best in their situation when that event occurs. Do they want to treat it as a cross purchase agreement, or do they want to treat it as a redemption agreement? Whatever it is, we're now giving options to make sure we get the right fit. what I think here that it's important is make sure we have these conversations with our business owners. Start the conversation now so that we can start planning for the future. I appreciate everybody being on. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. I would be happy to talk about this. And if not, we'll talk again next time. Thank you.